Hi, I'm going to be planting some plants in my front yard today, and so I thought that I would videotape it because it's going to be kind of a little bit of a change. So let me show you a few things. This is what I have planted right here. This is Wendy's Wish Salvia, and they're a little bit scraggly because it's been really, really hot. So when I planted these about 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I planted this one and this one over here because they only had 2. So I needed 3 and they only had 2. Well, fast forward to about a week ago and I found these. This one that I just planted, here they are. These need to be watered, but I found a whole bunch of these. They were not labeled as Wendy's Wish, but they do look very similar. The color is a little bit off, but the leaves are very similar. So I went ahead and bought it because I couldn't find these other ones. Well, then fast forward another week and I just found another Wendy's Wish Salvia. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to dig up this one and move it because first of all, it wasn't centered. And I'm gonna center this one where it's in between the 2. And then I'm gonna take the 4 little ones, no name salvias, and I'm gonna plant them just behind them so that we have kind of 7 salvias here, okay? This is a desert rose that my mother-in-law planted for me. Beautiful, it's not blooming right now, but when it does bloom, it's beautiful. So let's get started. Okay, so to transplant these and plant these, I brought a big shovel, which I use a little bit, but most of the time I just use a spade. Oh, and by the way, I'm already dirty because we've been working out in the garden. You'll see that garden video sometime soon when we finish the garden. Okay, so before we transplant anything or plant anything, we need to move the the mulch out of the way. So I just kind of scoot it out of the way, okay? And then we'll just pull it back over once we have everything planted. Okay, so there we go. I've got room to pull this one up, and I can still see the root ball from when I planted it just a week ago. So it's not been in there very long. I take my shovel, try to do this on my hands and knees instead of standing up. And there it comes right out. That was no problem at all. See? In the exact shape it was in when I put it in. Okay, so we're gonna set that off to the side. That one has been doing wonderfully. And the next thing I need to be really careful of is there are drip irrigation lines in here, and I'm not sure where exactly they are, but I would be able to see them, but I don't see them. Okay, so I think I'm clear to dig. Okay, so what I always do before I start digging is I place the plant where I want it, kind of stand back. I'll ask Gunnar, since he's got the camera. Gunnar, does that look centered in between these 2? Think?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then I kind of stick sometimes if the dirt's, soft enough, you can do this. And then when you remove your plant, Gunnar, if you'll come look at this, see how you can see the impression of the pot? That means I know where my hole's gonna be dug, right? You always want your holes to be a little bit bigger than the plant. But they don't have to be too much bigger. You do trees, it helps to have them a lot bigger. But these plants, they don't have to be too much bigger. Uh-oh. These plants I should have been watering. But I kept thinking I'll get them into the ground. And it's hard to get the water hose over here, so. Okay, so just, I would sing my diggy diggy hole song, but my son would probably laugh at me, right? Gunnar is my cameraman and my youngest son. He's going to be editing things for me for now. Okay, so I don't think that's big enough, so I'm going to dig it a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to test it. Okay, so I've got some loose dirt down in there. Pull that out. I am not a wizard with a shovel. I'm not very good with a shovel. So most of the time I use a spade, even when I'm planting gallon ones, which is not ideal. Got some concrete in here. I think that's always here in Corpus, if you're at a building site, that you're gonna find pieces of. We found a Corona bottle top today. So you're gonna find some crazy stuff in there that the people left. Okay, you wanna zoom in on this. This is Wendy's Wish Salvia. I had it at my other house and I loved it. It was one of my favorite. It does break easily. I just heard a few things snapped. Okay, and that looks good right there. Okay, so I'm gonna backfill it a little bit, make sure it's straight, and then I'm gonna finish my backfilling. Okay, so when my husband would plant plants, he was really good about making sure all the air bubbles were out. He'd run the hose on them, stick his fingers down in that dirt and really get it good. I am too impatient for that, and I don't want to get dirt all in my fingernails. So I don't usually do that. And my plants grow good too. So I'm going to go ahead and let it just sit there like this. Okay, so we're done with that one. I'm not gonna backfill too much with the mulch yet because we need to plant the other four. I think I have 4 more. Okay, so let's lay them out. Make sure that we have them in a good place. So since I have 3 here and I have 4 of these other ones, I'm gonna put them in between each one and on the ends. And I'm going to pull them back, right? So they're not gonna be right in a straight line. So we have them kind of zigzag, right? So then this one's gonna come over here. That one might be a goner, I hope not. And this one, they're really crispy, but hopefully they'll come springing right back. Okay, so that's where I'm gonna lay those. Where I'm gonna plant those. So you can watch while I get the rest of these planted. Okay, so I planted my 4 other, what I still think are Wendy's Wish, but I'm not sure because I didn't talk about where I got these from. The ones in the back row that have no name, I picked up at Lowe's, and I actually got them in the half off, so they were only $7 each. And then the one in the middle, the one that actually has the Wendy's Wish name, I got from Gill's Landscape Nursery. Gill's Nursery. Okay, so now I'm going to take all these pots and put them away, and I actually just have a little spot over here I put away things at. And then I'm going to sweep really quickly to make sure that I don't leave all this mess here. And because it's all mostly dirt, I'm just gonna sweep it back into the beds. Okay, now that looks nice. I'm gonna pick up my kneeling pad and get underneath there. Okay. And then I'm going to water, but before I water, I'm just going to pick up some of these scraggly things, make it look nice in here. Okay, and I want it to draw attention to, so that nobody comments on my video and thinks I don't already know, is that this one does not look centered to me at all. So I'm gonna hope that it just kind of fills in, grows up. I'm not super strict about measuring and make sure everything's perfect. In fact, you don't want your garden to be perfect unless you have a formal garden. And so putting things crisscrossed and not exactly lined up helps with the visual interest. And then the last thing we're going to do is soak each of these plants. This one is the one that's really crispy. I'm hoping it will come back. These plants I had these in my other house and they would perk up after I watered them. So cross my fingers. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just give that one a short water. That one I didn't just plant. But my sprinkler system has not gone off because we've had really heavy rain last weekend. And so I've been waiting for the soil to be a little bit drier. Oh, and while I'm doing this, let me just talk about some of the other plants you'll see in here in case you're wondering what they are. Right here, this is a blue daze. Okay, those grow wonderfully here in Corpus Christi. And then coming up in this front part, I do not know the name of the color, but this is an Angelonia. Okay, I don't really need to water enough, but these are Angelonia. And this is a flax. Flax lily, I think. I'll have to look that one up. And then we're not going to go any farther because I'm going to show you a whole tour of my whole front yard pretty soon. In fact, it might come out in video before this one comes out in video. But so you'll see the yard like done like this, then me planting these. But I'm just doing one more time because these are so crispy. And now we are good to go. And that is how you plant salvia.